What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about the difference between what people typically mean when they say that they have anxiety versus someone who is feeling anxious. So anxiety is a feeling that everyone experiences in their life at some point or another, right? So whether it's a deadline for school or work or any sort of event you have coming up in your life that you feel anxious about, that's something that we all experience. But anxiety, on the other hand, for me personally, I've had 2 anxiety attacks in my life, and up until the first one, it was something I never really considered as something that was possible. I didn't really understand what an anxiety attack was, and so of course when it happened, I didn't know what was going on. I just sort of felt this overwhelming feeling of fear. And for whatever reason, I was shaking and sweating, and I just felt off balance to the point where I actually couldn't even stand up straight. I had to kneel down, and I just felt dizzy and disconnected from everything that was happening. And I think it's interesting because after this point, after the attack, I came out and I didn't really understand what happened or why it happened to me. And the more and more that I looked into it, I started to understand that maybe this is something that is common. This is something that happens to people. It's not all that unusual as it might seem to be in our society, but I think that's in part because of the stigma that surrounds it. No one wants to talk about it. But it's interesting, actually. There's a song by Logic called Anxiety, and in the song, at the end of it, he actually talks about his experience with anxiety, to the point where it was so bad that he actually woke up in the hospital from it. So he said that he was waiting in line for a movie theater, and all of a sudden he just had this feeling of fear and panic that he was unsafe for some reason. And so he woke up, and the doctors told him that he experienced anxiety, that this is what happened, this is why he's in the hospital. And he refused to believe that. He searched for other explanations, he said, and he just didn't grasp how anxiety could control not only his mind but his body, to actually affect him physically and make him feel off balance and on the brink of death, I think he said. So, it's just really a strange thing, the way that we don't really think of it as something that's common or that other people experience. We might feel alone when we experience that, and we don't want to talk about it. We may even feel inferior or ashamed of that experience. But I think it's just completely ridiculous. The more and more that I think about it, it just doesn't make sense that that is the way it's viewed in our society. It's not something that's really within our control. Although, I will say that ever since I've started meditating, I haven't had another anxiety attack. So I think there is a way to manage it. But it's nothing that you should ever feel ashamed about. And it's just kind of crazy to me that that is sort of the way a lot of people think of it. And I think that it would just be so much easier for everyone to just talk about it and admit that they've experienced it. It's nothing that you should be ashamed about. Like I said, many already, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's really all I have to say, guys. So I will actually leave a link to a video where Logic is discussing his lyrics and his process of creating this song. It's a really interesting song. He's actually taking on the persona of anxiety itself and sort of creating a depiction of how anxiety manifests itself in our mind. So I encourage you to check that out if you might be interested. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.